Yeah, you don't know your boundaries until you have goals set for yourself. Like if my goal, yeah, look at that, almost did a 360.
I almost did, but the wall was in the way. I was like, shit.
But
Yeah.
like if you have a goal of like writing a book, and your goal is to write, one chapter every week, and just say that chapter takes 10 hours, and you schedule 10 hours out of your week to kind of write that chapter, and all of a sudden your boss is like, hey, can you come in on your day off? Or you have a friend that's like, hey, can you cover me for this? Or hey, can you come over and help me move some furniture? Hey, let's go out for drinks or whatever like that. If it goes against what your goal, to me, that's intruding on the boundary. What's
Bring it together. No. Lionel Ritchie songs with no in it. Is that what it is?
Was that what my way off?
You might be.
Probably. I like Lionel Ritchie.
I like, bro. Bro. He is, dude. Oh no, hold up. What is that? Oh no, with no in the title. Yeah. Lionel Ritchie, bro. People don't understand. That mother hoo-ha was in a lot of he was responsible for a lot of songs, bro.
The Commodores. He was in the Commodores, right?
What? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my guy. And like he was a composer for a lot of songs. Bro, I don't know if you watched the We Are the World documentary.
No, I never watched it. No, I never watched it.
Check it out. That dude was a mastermind. First of all, pulling everybody together. I forgot how difficult that must have been. Because it's not like we all had cell phones, bro.
Yeah, I remember my dad made me do that. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here for? Like, I mean, this is going back, mid 80s? I was like 6 or 7 or something like that, right? Was that when the Hands Across America was?
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. It was like
I'm so mad at him dragging me out to that, man. Like, what the hell are we doing out here?
You're like, what the heck? You wanted to say no.
Yeah, I was like, hell no.
No.
Yeah. My voice didn't matter then.
Yeah, brother. Listen, well, it matters now, and we're going to talk about the art of saying no. Nunca is actually never, but no is no in whatever language. So welcome to It's More Than Black or White Health Podcast. See, I got all flustered. I couldn't even get the title right. It's More Than Black or White Health Podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Paul Newell, men's guide, yoga instructor, overall health and well-being champion. My man, Brian.
Brian Rankin, co-host to More Than Black and White, entrepreneur, a renaissance man of a lot of different things. So at least I like to think I am.
And
I got a lot to learn. But I'm on my path.
See, we're going to do an episode on a Renaissance man, bro, because I believe that's what a Renaissance man is. A Renaissance man is never complete or finished, bro.
Yeah.
They're always learning something.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
I'm too humble to ever say I'll never be finished. Never be finished. I'll be 100 years old reading. I'm a student to the universe. Just absorbing information.
Well, fortunately, you got me in your corner too, so I'll be there to big you up and be like, "Yo, I'm one of your hype men." So while you're being humble, I'll be like, "Yo, bro, you didn't get Hey, man. So, dude, listen. This topic. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all of you that have subscribed to the podcast. Thank you for all that have shared this, made comments. We appreciate all of you. And we like to give topics and talk about things that are going to help you be a health advocate, or really an advocate for your health specifically. And one of the things when we talk about different topics, I think it's really important because how it impacts our health in ways that we may not think about. And I think this topic of being able to say no has different health implications that people may not think about. So Brian and I are going to chop it up about this saying no and what that means and what that all looks like for us, man. So B, like when we started talking about this topic, man, especially like, because what do we say? The art of saying no and how to prioritize what matters. Was there ever a time in your life that you had a problem saying no?
Sure, when I was younger, definitely. So I wanted people to like me. Yeah, like when
Like
I was in
high school.
high school,
Yeah.
maybe when I got, went through my, first few girlfriends. So like, you know, that was always like, even though I was like, man, this woman's she's doing me dirty, but I gotta say yes because I don't want to lose her. you know? you know?
Yeah.
So
Dude,
there's a lot of, I think when you're younger, you're definitely more prone to be a yes person. But then you look back and you're like, man, what was I thinking? And I could accomplish so much more if I knew what I knew now than I knew then. But I guess
yeah.
that's the motto for everyone as they get older. If I only knew then what I know now, right?
I'd be in a completely different place.
Yeah.
But I think
Like
that's the
no
learning,
shit.
though.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's the learning, though, B. It's like,
hmm
and I think that's part of learning when and how to say no. Because I
Yeah.
realized it was the same for me when I was younger too. Like a people pleaser, man. I'm a recovering people pleaser, bro. So
hmm
no wasn't in my vocabulary for a lot of years. I would say probably into my freaking 30s.
hmm
You know what I'm saying, bro? It's
Yeah.
like me conditioning myself to always say yes to others and no to myself carried beyond into my adult years. And it had an impact, bro. It had an impact. I think that was part of my personal growth development to start saying no.
Well, if you
Like for
think
you,
about it, like how when you grow up, you got to, your parents tell you to do something.
yeah.
You can't say no, get the shit kicked out of you, right? Or or whatever, depending on how you're raised. Then you go to school. You're not allowed to say no to teachers. Then you graduate school. You go into a workforce. Good luck saying no to your boss. So you're kind of like almost like programmed with all this in you to be, this obedient, yes, pleasing person. That's
Brother.
one of the reasons I love the entrepreneurial world. I can do things at my own pace. I don't have to listen to nobody. I don't listen to no boss. I'm too old to get lectured. Like, don't talk to me like that.
Brother.
But
Bro, I was out with some friends last night, and my dude, he's got a training studio in Summit, and he's been there for 16 years. And we were joking around because the other dude we were out with, he was like, yo, I don't like rules. And Neil and my man Neil was like, yeah, that's why I work for myself, man. I don't like
mm-hmm.
rules. I don't even like labels. I don't like words on my
yeah,
shirt. We were cracking
yeah.
up. But I think it's important, man, because if you don't like rules, I think that's where the kerfuffle can come in, right? Because if you
Sure.
don't like rules, you're like, I don't want to hear that crap. Yet at the same time, like something you said that I think is important. If you said no when you were young, you got the shit, you got smacked up, man.
yeah.
So it's like Pavlov's dog. There's
Mm-hmm.
no reward in that. The reward is like I'm safe when I just say yes.
yeah. The reward is you're not going to school with a black eye.
Exactly.
That's your
Exactly.
that's your
Oh,
reward.
shit. Parents got smart, man. They used to whoop me
Yeah.
on the body, so I just be saying,
Yeah.
wow, oh, ah. I wouldn't see any visible scars. But
yeah.
bruh, I think that's a piece when I think about the transition to beginning to say no
Mm-hmm.
and prioritize self. Uh, dude, I've started to recognize what makes it so hard to say no. I think
I
it
think
is a
it's
condition.
what do you think it is?
Well, I think it's conditioning, like you said. But I'm curious, like
Yeah.
what your thoughts on that are, man.
I started saying no more when I figured out exactly what I want. And then once I figured out what I wanted, I know I had to invest more into myself. And a lot of times I was saying yes was just waste. It was wasting my time, and the people
Mhm.
that I was helping, they didn't really want help. They just wanted somebody to kind of feel sorry for them or just kind of be around them and, not make them feel lonely. But it
Yes.
wasn't until like I actually figured out what I want to do with my life and the
Mm.
in the path that my going on that. That's why it's like for me, like super important that you set goals for yourself, whether they're 5-year goals, 3-year goals, then 1 year to quarterly to monthly to weekly, because you stay on this. And if you're like a person like me, where you're a box checker and you want to see progress,
A
you don't have
box
time.
checker.
You don't have time to waste. What'd you say? Sorry,
Yes. A box checker. I love that.
the
Like,
box checker. Yeah, yeah, and you don't have time to waste. So it's important to say no because you're protecting your time and energy. And every time you say yes to something that you don't want to do, it usually comes at a cost of your personal priorities. So yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
until you know what you want, the first thing you need to do is figure out what you want. Set some goals.
Bro, you hit it right on the head right there, bro. And I didn't, man, saying what you want, figuring out what you want, first of all, because I think that's another thing that leads to the yeses when cats don't know where the heck they're going, bro. It's easy to say yes. We're like, sure. Like I found this out. Like remember we talked about the calendar piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the calendar, one of the ways the calendar helped me was like it helped me to prioritize stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So like before, when I didn't really use my calendar, I was like, yeah, I know I got something going on. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I think I could do that. But then like when I started having a calendar, I was like, okay, let me put this in. Let me put this in. It reduced my double booking. It let me know what I had going on. But again, like when I take that time on Sundays and I'm looking at the week and then like the month ahead, where do I want to spend my time in those free times, right? Like, do I want to just like now I'm even booking out like, yo, dude, I need rest. So that time I'm leaving it blank, bro. You know what I mean? Because I need to prioritize myself rather than saying, oh, well, yeah, I'll do that. I'll be here. And then I'm going all these different places and burning myself out, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then
You have to build, go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
You got to build boundaries. You know, that's the biggest thing. And as you start building boundaries, saying no, it fosters respect and prevents burnout, like you were mentioning before. So it's super important to create clear boundaries. Like the moment you say no to somebody that you not always said yes to, or like sometimes like at work, my boss is like, hey, can you can you do like an hour presentation to the trainers? It's not just an hour of my time. It's like 3-4 hours doing something before that to set it up. And I know you're not going to pay me. And I just don't there's certain ways we'll kind of go into like how to say no, but I basically just say flat out, like, no, I can't do it right now. It's not worth my time. I'm not taking 5 hours on my thing with something you're not paying me to do. To do something, So the answer is no. Find somebody else. I'd say I present it a little better, but that's basically what I'm saying in my mind. So you got to have those boundaries. So next time somebody wants you to, whether it be a boss or a friend or somebody that needs your help, they'll think twice about asking you. So,
bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. To me, it's all about boundaries and respect.
So, Brian, I'm feeling everything that you're saying about this. What I'd like to go into and what came in my mind is like, what is a boundary, bro? Because I hear this all the time. Like, you got to create boundaries. You got to create boundaries.
Yeah.
And it looks like it can look different for people, man. But like, for some reason, I want to go into for a moment the impact of no being the boundary, right? Like, so specifically, when I'm saying no to something, or even like, hey, let me like one of my ways is like, hey, let me think about that for a bit. Let me think about that. It gives me space. So this no, or I need space, is your place to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's a boundary, right? Or a boundary is like, hey, you're not coming in unless I allow you to, right?
Yeah.
And that no is because there can be some guilt in saying no, right? Like I know when I've been in situations like you just described, a part of me will be like, oh, well, this is a good rep or blah, blah, blah. Then now more parts of me are like, yo, bro, like how you said, like, yo, bro, hold up, man. Yo, you know your perfectionist ass is gonna start doing stuff on this. So you're gonna be spending a good amount of time, Paul. So it's not just like you said, it's not just 1 hour, it's 2-3 hours. So now I'm setting a boundary for that.
Yeah.
Right? Not the hour. It's even like, for example, when I'm like a boundary is space to move. So even when I have my work stuff in my calendar, like, hey, I'm 9 to 5 here, I put the boundary in for travel. You know what I mean? Like I have that space. So when we talk about boundaries, people, I think it's key to understand. Like sometimes people can look at it like I gotta defend, I gotta protect my boundaries. Like, yeah, you do, but really, like, you got to figure out your boundaries and how you move in that shit so you can determine what it is you're letting in. And I think that's a big key of the prioritization, bro.
Yeah,
And when you know
you don't know your boundaries until you have goals set for yourself.
that's
Like
my,
if my goal, yeah, look at that, almost did a 360.
I almost did, but the wall was in the way. I was like, shit.
But
Yeah, yeah.
like if you have a goal of like writing a book and your goal is to write, one chapter every week and just say that chapter takes 10 hours and you schedule 10 hours out of your week to kind of write that chapter, and all of a sudden your boss is like, hey, can you come in on your day off? Or you have a friend that's like, hey, can you cover me for this? Or hey, can you come over and help me move some furniture? Can you, hey, let's go out for drinks or whatever like that. If it goes against what your goal, to me, that's intruding on the boundary. And you need to be an adult. I was going to say a man, but you need a woman too. You need to be an adult and be like, no, whatever way however you want to kind of, use the language to get your point across and stick to what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, how many people really give a shit about if you're successful or you accomplish your goals? They might come to your face and be like, hey, man, that's great. Awesome. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. Blah, 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 blah. 2 minutes later, they forgot about it and they're on with their own life. They don't care. Most people don't care. It's like that Gary V thing I put out, right? With the short.
Yeah.
Like, no one gives a fuck about you, right?
Oh, yes.
No one gives a fuck about you. They got their own shit they're going to worry about, Hey, listen,
Right.
I'm not saying like, listen, if you have a close friend, like, and they need your help, I'm not saying don't do it. That's another reason, like you want, or another strategy you want to have as you get older. You want to keep your inner circle smaller and smaller. That keeps a lot of parasitic friends out. Friends, I should say, with quotes, air quotes around it. That keeps them out. Yeah, yeah. We all got those friends that they just call you when they need something, right? Or
Wow.
like I don't even call them friends anymore. It's like, yeah, it's like, people that you grew old, I've known them for a long time and known them for 20 years. Just because I know you for 20 years, 30 years, doesn't mean I'm friends with you. Like I'll say hi to you, I'll hang out, but I've had people be like, know me for 20 years. Oh, you're one of my best friends. I'm like, dude, I don't even want to talk to you, dude. Like, but
Yeah, yeah. Keep it
that's
short.
another topic.
That's a whole listen. That's another episode. Be on the lookout. But
Mm-hmm.
this is important because that we're talking about this because what I'm hearing in this is really determining what really matters and have that be your guide for long term, current, like whatever's going on in your life, and that includes your time, your attention, your relationships, your network. That thing with like the knowing the network. Your network is your net worth. That whole saying.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I
Yeah.
think it's important in recognizing the time wasters too, bro. Because
Yeah.
when I appreciate what you said there, and I think there's people forget about, or I think people can fail to acknowledge that they're saying no to themselves when they say yes to something else. Like I know we hear this all the time, yet I think most people fail to really grasp that because if you're on a mission for something, like you say, hey, I'm gonna write, like when I have an editing, it's like, okay, look, I need to edit. And there's been times I'm like, oh shoot, I did something else instead of that. Then I recognize the impact that had. And I'm like, damn. Then I had to learn, like, dude, I put that first instead of this.
Yeah.
So now it's like looking at, like, to me, that thing I put first was a time waster because I'm on here. I'm like, yo, okay, this is my time to edit, or this is my time to go lift weights, or this is my time to go do this. If I push that off and now I'm getting to bed later, okay, I had a time waster in there. What is that? Right. And I think the reason why I'm even bringing that up is because it helps me to be more strategic about the no and take the sting and take the oomphy oomph out of it. You know what I mean? The oomphy oomph.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if I say no, I have this guilt thing because I'm still grasping that part Gary Vee said, like, nobody gives a fuck, man. Nobody cares, bro. You said no, okay. Like, if I'm thinking that that's on me if I'm thinking, if I'm feeling guilty. It's not on them. He just asked a question. I'm like thinking like, oh, what if they're gonna like me now? They're gonna call me.
Mhm.
Child, please, man. Child,
Yeah.
please. So
And you
talk
made a
to
good
my
point too before. Like you say,
yeah,
like people say yes a lot because if they say no, they feel guilty. So if you take time out of you set, let's say you go back to the whole writing a chapter, you set 10 hours out for yourself to write a chapter a week, and now you're spending 5 hours with somebody. Yeah, you don't feel guilty, but when you go to and put your head down on the pillow at night, you're not going to have a good vibration. You're probably shamed. You're going to probably feel guilty about yourself. You're going to feel
yes,
shameful because you couldn't stand up for yourself. So you need to take that guilt and you need to flip the vibration and being like, hey man, I'm proud of myself. Look at me standing up for myself. All right, okay, cool. Look at this. And that's the way you gotta go into it. That's super important.
it's very
You know?
important, man. And I
And if
think it's
if somebody makes you feel guilty, fuck that
bro,
person. You don't want them people in your life anyway. But why?
listen,
Why?
listen, bro, you hit something very important. Party peoples. If someone makes you feel guilty for saying no, go the other way. Because that's a manipulation strategy and they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
extract something from you. Be very mindful from that for that. I had to learn that the hard way with all these damn mothers of my children's. So, bruh, man, be careful, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get yourself in a world of hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away from that cat that makes you feel guilty. One of the things, B, I'm curious, when you started saying no, right? Was there like to start that path, did you have like a set talk track? Did you have a mindset when you started really carving and you knew what you wanted? Like, how did you
Mm-hmm.
go about getting comfortable with the no, or were you always
Yes.
comfortable?
Yeah, no, I wasn't always comfortable. It took me a while. I started, small, like saying no to like little things. But what really got me into it was when I started. Once I knew exactly what I wanted to surround my people that were already there. So I started working with a lot of
Mm,
mentors. I started going to conferences and everything like this. And I met a guy. He was still a big mentor in my life. Owns various companies, probably worth close to $1 billion. Crazy, crazy money. So he was telling me that as you become more successful and you become like an accredited investor, or you start working with a lot of people, and people are going to want to be your friends more because the wealth attracts, and you're gonna get a lot of proposals brought to you because they're gonna want your money to invest with them, and you need to start making logical risk assessment risks. So what's the word I'm looking for? Strategic risks. And when
yeah.
you become an entrepreneur, and you have to do it very objectively.
Mm,
Everything is math for like real estate and stuff like that. But you need to get the subjective, the emotional part out of it,
yeah.
and that really helped me out a lot too. So I'm like, all right, because I was like, all right, I'm going to hopefully get to your level one day. Or I was like, I'm going to get to your level one day, and I need to start saying no now. If I can't say no now for small things, how am I going to say no to big things? That's how like people get in financial issues. I mean, look at athletes. They grow up, with not a lot of money, whatever environment they are. They sign these huge contracts, and all of a sudden, 3 years outside the NFL, they're broke. Even while they're in the NFL, they're broke. They live paycheck to paycheck because all of a sudden they got 32 cousins. Their parents are making them feel guilty for not buying them a house and the newest car, and you got aunts and uncles and all these people that kind of raised you. Plus, you have friends from those areas that were always kind of by your side. Now they want you to, hey, I got this great idea. Let's invest. Oh yeah, here's $25,000. Here's $30,000, and all of a sudden you're out of the NFL in like 3 to 5 years, which is about an average lifespan, 3 years, and then you're stuck, no money. Everyone else around you, he's not there for you when you
Oh,
need him. So
right.
but the maturity you got to have, and if you want something for yourself, you need to, again, it's almost like set those boundaries.
Bro, it's so important,
Hmm.
man. You're bringing up some really powerful things, man, because I'm thinking of the nose because man, okay, first of all, I'm thinking about that knowing like an NFL player. And that's where someone just has this wealth, right? That's where a lot of manipulation can come in. So people gotta. So the reason why I bring this up is because learning to say no, I think, is important skill for everyone to have. Because again, if you're coming into money and people know that you have a difficulty to say no, it's like blood in the water. Okay. People are gonna come for you,
Yeah.
especially if you know you're nice, or they'll use that mode as like, yo, man, we've been on each other for kids, or since kids, or it's like, you this now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So you can't help me now. Remember when I did this for you?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of being very disciplined in how I look at it, right? It's like being disciplined in your no talk tracks. So
Yeah.
so for me, I had it's one reason I asked the question, because like I'm looking back when when I was prepping for this topic, I was like, damn, man, like how did I start saying no? And for me, it started off with like, you know what? Let me think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could say no or yes. Right. But it gave me
Yeah.
it was like me learning how to exercise that boundary. Then it was a direct no, like no.
Yeah.
And getting used
Yeah.
to the silence. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No?
It's a flat no for me if I'm trying to get a point across. Like, don't bother me ever again.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah.
like, no. That's like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Most of the time, I'm polite with it. Like, hey, listen, man. I appreciate the offer or whatever like that, but it's not the right time for me. I got a couple things working in right now, and it's going to take me a few months to get things. I'm talking like business deals. So like
Yeah.
people will come to me like, hey, you want to? I just had a friend that just reached out to me. He's like, hey, I'm buying a car dealership. Do you want to invest in me? And I the ROI wasn't there, so I was like, hey, listen, it's like, I can't do it right now. I appreciate the offer, but this is my slow season right now, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't know what else I'm doing. So, but in like quarter two, I should be able to free some stuff up, and then there we can kind of circulate back around. And maybe then he'll find something, or maybe then you know, you know, realize it was not a good investment. He, did his own thing. So only time I say like no flat out is like, it's basically saying like, fuck you, don't ever bother me again.
Like,
And I have
your ass
said
out of
that.
here.
I have
Cool.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But there's a
it's the
reason
same
I've said that, because I can spot a parasite from a mile away. So,
And yo, brother, that's another piece, bro. Spotting the
yeah,
parasites, brother. You
yeah,
said so. I want to highlight something that you said too, bro. That's another way of saying no, or at least like
mm,
knowing where the priorities are. It's like when you have someone, and this is business related, but when you have someone that is asking of something of you,
yeah,
like in this case, you said the card. I don't know if it was a car dealers or something else.
mm,
But basically, like you had a question, like, well, what's the ROI or what's this? Like, so if you fail to know what you want or where you're going, you be free of asking those types of questions. And that, like to me, that to me is going back to what you said. Like one of the ways to get to know is to know where you want to go. So if someone's bringing you a business and they look like, I think you and I talked about this a while ago, like, yo, what's your business plan? Oh, you need
mm,
one? Yeah, mother who how man? If you want me to invest in you, bro, like what? Let me see
yeah,
your ledger, man. So now it's like people you can also recognize like that no is also an informed decision. Like it's being curious. Like if somebody makes a request of you, and it could be business, it could be time. Like,
mhm,
listen, sometimes people are like, hey Paul, you got some time? Like, I think so, but like what is this about? Like
yeah, yeah,
what are we talking about? Like, what's the intention? Right? Like, what's the intention of this meeting that we're gonna have?
yeah,
Uh nah, bro. You know what,
yeah,
man? Like, look, dude, I look, I got 15 minutes. What you
yeah.
got?
Yeah, and
And
if you don't feel comfortable like having that conversation face to face with somebody over the phone, be like, "Hey,
yeah,
listen, hey, shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, and I'll get back to you."
yes, bro. Yes.
Yeah,
Because listen, when it comes to saying no, it's also look like I think in that regard, sometimes people just splat out offers. People just ask for stuff.
yeah,
Oh, you said yes? Oh shit, okay, great.
hmm,
So that's why you as a person get to be discerning about like, yo, hold up. That's the power of saying no. And it can come like my
yeah,
point is that this can come in many different forms. B, something came up, man, that I wanted to chop up with you, right? The projection of no. What do you mean, Paul? I'm glad you asked. So when I say no, when I used to say no, or when I was in fear of saying no to people, I had a projection in my head of how they felt. I had a projection of how I feel when someone says no to me, like that rejection. So I had this part in me, I would not say no because I didn't want them to feel rejected. So I'm curious, when you hear something like the projection of no, what comes to mind for you if it's something different than what I just said?
So like as an entrepreneur, like I sometimes I try to get people to invest in companies with me or kind of go in. So like
Yeah.
if somebody says no to me, and I don't do it a lot, but if somebody says no to me, my thing is like, all right, I didn't bring enough value to that business deal, or and which is fine because I'm going to learn something. So I'll be like, hey, listen, I'll reach back out to them, be like, hey, listen, I appreciate that you don't want to do this. I understand maybe it's not the right time or whatever like that. Just curious, like, so when I bring this to somebody else, what would you change? Could be different? And a lot of times they'd be like, like, oh, the terms were off. It was like too long to get my money back, or the interest wasn't high enough, or whatever like this, the ROI, or it's a bad market right now. I'd be like, oh, okay. Then I'll just like start looking in, start thinking about it more. But that's how you grow. I just don't take it. I don't take a no for what it is. I want to learn why people say no and kind of like what makes them tick. It's kind of like the psychology behind it, which
Yeah.
I love learning about. But to me, it's like, all right, I didn't bring enough value for them to say yes to the offer. Or if
Yeah.
I ask a friend and they say no, which really doesn't happen because I don't really ask too many favors. Really, I'm a type of person that just like to do everything by myself. Like I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out type of guy. Rarely do I ask a friend for help.
You are, yeah,
That might be like unless like if I'm in a business with them or I'm doing something with them, then I'm like, hey, can you take this on or can you do this? And like, because it's freeing stuff up. It's not me being lazy, but for me, I just have so much shit on my plate. but it's good. It's good. I'm not busy. I'm busy, but I'm also efficient, which is way more important. But
it's very
I went off
important.
on a rant there, but
No,
yeah.
listen. This was perfect because I want to talk. This is how you can turn a no into a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Because if person saying no, damn, I'm so happy you said this because if a person says no to you, right? You can like what Brian was hearing is, all right, there was something. What I'm hearing you say is there was something I
Mm-hmm.
missed in that presentation.
Yeah.
All right, what can I add in there that would make this more appealing?
Yeah.
Right? Or what's the value prop? Like, hey, I would talk to this, and also asking questions, right? Like, oh, well, what would make this a yes? Nothing. All right, well, thank you. What would
Yeah.
make this a yes? Well, actually, if you change the terms, like I would like to get paid back faster, so instead of a 5-year term, I want to do 3 years. Oh, okay. Well, listen, like, let me go back and rework the numbers, and I'll present it to you, and we'll go
Yeah.
again. Now
Yeah.
it's like, and it just comes back to something you were saying too before, Brian, about always being a learner, right? Because I remember in sales, like they would be like, it's never a no, it's a not right now,
Mm-hmm.
or blah blah blah. They would just say like, start asking. Some of the best salespeople that I've ever been around ask a lot of questions. Well, what does that mean? Blah, blah, blah. So then when they present, they're like, all right, well, what I'm hearing is this. So how about we do this?
Yeah. Always
You know
ask
what
questions.
I mean?
Always
Huh?
ask questions. I'm at a point in my life where like usually when I ask for something, it's because it's important for my business. So when I get flat out no's, it's important for me to understand why they say no. And I'm not saying give me a reason because I want to change your mind. Just give me a reason, like just curious. Like sometimes like when I first started trying to apply for SBA loans, I would get shut down. I would and I'm like, all right, like why am I getting? They wouldn't give me like a clear answer. So I'd have to reach out to their office and be like, hey, listen, Mr. or Mrs. So and so, like, why am I not getting approved for this? What would you like to see on paper for me to approve it? All right, I want your credit score to be a little higher. You have too much debt compared to assets, or what? Or you need more maturity. You need more as far as like you need to have more money for a longer period of time sitting there. So we know that, or your paycheck stubs aren't, high enough or whatever like that. And be like, oh, okay, all right, cool. And then I'll reach back out to you like in 6 months and we'll kind of see if anything has changed. All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Rankin. Appreciate you. And I build like a good relationship with them. So when I do reach out to them again in 6 months, hey, it's Brian. I don't know if you remember me. We talked a little while ago. You got the knife for the loan. You said I needed X, Y, and Z. So letting you know, I got them all done. And hey, take a look at it. Maybe we can push it through and get it going. So that's how you do it in a mature business way. You just don't say no and be like, oh, can't get anything done. They're also running a business too.
Right,
So
right, bro.
yeah.
Thank you so much for saying that, because like I think in that context, especially when in relation to business, it's so important to be able to ask those questions and like and dance with the no, right? Dance with that
Mm-hmm.
instead of projecting like, oh God, it's like there's no, a lot of people, I think when they hear no, they just give up because of the impact that it has on them, right? So I think that's an important piece, is like when we're turning a no into a positive, it's more than just like getting to the end result. It's also like learning about things, right? Like when you say like, hey, well, what, asking questions like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do this different. Now I just got better. Rather than some people just stick it to like, oh no, okay, I'm not going to do anything else. I can just stop. And I've been there too, right? I've definitely been there. I'm curious, like one of the things too, like there's a ripple effect to no's, right? And I think it's like when we talk about that no mindset.
What do you mean by that? Ripple effect.
Like when I started saying no in one area, I got more comfortable saying no in other areas. See, it was like, and again, I really beat, as I'm thinking about it, I think this really still comes back to the boundaries, bro, and like really having more care and discernment for myself and my space. But I noticed like when I started being able to say no to things, then I would start to like commitments, like, hey, can you do this? No. Hey, can you be here? Nah. Like, and then I started being able to do that in relationship. Hey, why don't you do? No, it's not going to happen. Then I started being able to do it at work. Like, hey, Paul, can you do this? No. And I was like, oh shit, that didn't feel uncomfortable at all, right? It's like so I noticed like by me starting to say it in one event, like I built the confidence to say it in every other place in my life, man.
Yeah.
Which is important. It's key. It's key.
Yeah.
But like, you think that's a mind shift for people?
It is. Yeah, it is. Like I said, we're kind of programmed throughout our childhood, to the educational system, to the workforce, to always say yes to your superiors. So you go into relationships and you're just kind of programmed to be like, it's a good, whatever it is. But it is a mind shift until you figure out, again, like what you want to do in your life, and the give specific goals that you're like, I'm going to hit these goals regardless. And then people, like, the universe is always going to test you. Like, all right, let's see how much you really, really want to publish this book. And all of a sudden your phone's ringing by 3 or 4 friends, or parasitic friends that are coming out of the blue, or cousins you haven't talked to in a while, and like, hey, asking you for all these things, and it's almost like trying to have you push those boundaries. Like, let's see, and the universe kind of sitting back, everyone's up there and like, all right, let's see what he does here. He doesn't want it. Look at him taking his day out, helping his his third uncle's cousin's milkman's friend move for 6 hours or whatever.
The universe is like, failed.
Yeah.
We'll give you another opportunity soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you're 8 years old, you're coming to the end of your life, and you look back and you start reflecting and you're like, never wrote that book, never wrote that book. And you just kind of feel bad about yourself. You had a gift, and maybe your whole dharma was to write that book, and then you could have helped so many people out, but you just didn't have the courage and have the empowerment in yourself to say no. That's not to get into it, but like, that's my biggest fear in life, is reflecting back when I'm older and not using the tools that I have that was empowered and that was instilled in me through like, higher beings, whatever like that. Because I know I got one shot at doing this in my life. There never was another Brian. There not is another Brian with my characteristics, and there never will be. So I got one shot to use all these things, and I'm blessed to figure out like what they are. Just working on doing a lot of self-help and like, thank you psychedelics, and learning through that way. But I don't want to leave anything behind. And everyone's like, "Oh, you got so many different things going on. You got blah 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 blah." Like, and I'm like, "Yeah," and I feel good about it. I don't feel overwhelmed. I like controlled chaos. That's my ADD kind of kicking in a little bit. But that's another episode we did. But it's I like that stuff. So I don't want to feel like I left anything on the table when I get older. So that's my thing.
Dude, I feel you on that, man. And like I just really, when you say that, I really think of that discerning piece, man. It's like, it's really looking at what do you say no to, right? And you know what it is. Like, there's the vision. Coming back to this again, when I know what I want and where I'm going, it's gonna be easier it is easier for me to say no. It's just what it is, right? And this is another piece. I'll just like touch on this for a moment. Is getting out of the right and wrong and making it aligned. So what I mean by that is that like when I see, or when I used to think about saying no and my resistance to it, it was a right and wrong conversation rather than an aligned or misaligned conversation. Right. So neither's wrong. I mean, like, hey, listen, maybe, hey, listen, to going out with the friends can be good. It may not be good for me. It was good for that cat, so there was good in it, but like, was it aligned? Nope. Yeah. Right. Because I think that right and wrong conversation gets people all freaking in a jam up in the dome piece, man. We talked about brain and depression and thinking like ping, 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 ping.
Yeah.
It starts to jam stuff up in the cranium, man. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Especially, like we talked about that, right? Like, the depression for women, it's at least twice as much Alzheimer's, as 2 times more chance to create Alzheimer's. Depression in men, 4 times chance of Alzheimer's. Yeah, you don't want to mess things up with that. Bruh. And I've trained a lot of clients in my past where I can see like when they don't listen to me and they kind of like, what I mean by don't listen to, like, change their lifestyle habits, or they change their nutritional habits and everything like that. They just think working out itself is going to fix everything. And I can see them throughout the years. Like, some people I'll lose contact with, and I'll reach back out to them, maybe like, and then I could just tell, like, after 10, 15 years of training with them, they're like, they're losing it. And I could tell up to that point, like, they weren't the happiest people. They're like a little bit depressed, or because they're like, they feel like they can't do anything. They almost have like that victim mentality. They feel hopelessness, and that leads into depression, which is eventually going to lead into more chances than none Alzheimer's.
Yeah, bro.
Or some kind of neurological brain issue where your memory just starts going. So fix your shit, man. Know your goals and say no.
Say no. Like in the words of Destiny's Child, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, when it's really yes. I think there was like sexual innuendo in that song, but it's not. Yeah, it's not the point. Like, no. Okay, and get your notepad, right? So go back, listen to some of this. I'm sure there's some other stuff here that there's some gems in here. Before we start wrapping up, man, like, is there anything else that you want to share with the people in regards to like saying no and prioritizing themselves when it comes to their health and well-being, whether in whatever domain, like physical, social, emotional, career, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Just
start, I mean, I guess it's like, start small. Say no to small things and build your confidence up. Now that's going to create some you're going to empower yourself. So I would start small. And again, like, I'm beating a dead horse here. Like, spend more time on your goals and your passions that matter most to you. That's big. And then those boundaries, they become thicker and thicker and thicker, you know, and it's hard to penetrate them by just the white noise in the background.
Bro.
So that's it. That's all I got for you, man.
The snaps. Yeah, man, Bree, I appreciate what you say, man. And for me, my last takeaway is look at no as a marker for your self-care and respect of your time.
Yeah.
Like, take care of yourself, right? And
somebody told me a quote one time. It's like they were like saying, like, if you don't say no enough, your yeses have no value. And that always stuck with me too. So I'm like, all right, gotta say no more.
Yeah, I love that, man, because it's true, bro. Like, he says yes to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course he's gonna say yes to everything, right? Of course he's gonna say yes to everything. You know, he's a bobblehead. He just says
yes, dude. And bro, that's something for people that are in service, like people that love to be about the service. And you know, this I'm one of those cats. Like, oh, so help this out. I'm in. Okay. And then I got be so much in the service, like I'll be like this, depleted and shit, man. I'm like, oh, why am I so tired? Oh, because you haven't been taking care of yourself. You take care of everybody else.
Yeah.
Else, bro. What are you doing? Bro. And so it
Another
is.
one. So it is.
Yeah. All right, man. Say no, damn it. Except when it comes to subscribing to the More Than Black or White Health podcast. Say yes to that. And say yes to liking. Say yes to subscribing. And bless up. Until the next time, we will see you more soon. For peace.